Hey Jason, this looks interesting. Can you explain to me what's going on?
Sure. Originally this wall had settled and shifted out about
Right.
3 inches. So what we did is just like on some of the other parts of the house, we dug out alongside of the house, took out the old foundation, poured new footer, put new foundation in. The original wall was 3 layers thick with brick, and so what we've done is remove the center layer so that we can push this outer row of brick in, and to get it running straight with the rest of the house. So we've just parged the inside. On the other side of this brick is the plaster. We've parged this side of it, and we're pushing mortar in there to strengthen that up. We're filling in here and using the old brick that we took out to just simply reface the house with the original brick. It was so far out that it caused the window to go out a square, and so we're gonna create a square opening so that the windows can be either replaced or rebuilt in a square opening, and to get those straightened up. And that's kind of where we're at.
Okay. So you're this is it mortar that you've got there
Uh-huh.
on the wall, and you call it porridging. So you're kind of when I show or point the camera up here, I can see that there's a lot of gaps in between the inside bricks. Basically, the brick layer that's facing the inside wall.
Sure. So basically, you can see that some of those are actually the floor joists for the upstairs for the second level,
Okay.
and that's built right into the brick wall. And so the purpose of having three rows of brick on the first story of the house was simply to create a nice thick wall, a nice insulated wall, I'm sure, and then also to have something to build the second story onto. So we're just, so we had to remove some of the brick. It was either we could have torn the entire wall down, all three rows of brick, but then it would cause, there would be no plaster. We would just see inside of the house, and we just felt like this was probably the best approach. So yeah, we'll just parge the backside of these brick, and just to give them some strength, and we'll be just squeezing mortar into the gaps and things in there. We'll parge that, and we'll lay the brick on the outside, and this will just cause the house to look original,
Yeah.
like it's in its original state, as close to that as possible.
Yeah. I see you've got is it a level line coming across here?
Yeah. So
That-
because this side of the house, the brick had settled. At some point, the roof was bad, and there was water that was coming down between the wall here. Now, what that did is at the bottom of the wall, it just washed out the old mortar, and so then we had our foundation rocks that had no mortar between them, so they settled, and so what that caused then would be these brick to also settle. So this entire wall had settled some, and because of all that weight and nothing to set on, the bottom of the wall had began to kick out, and so now that we've got the new footer and foundation in there, this wall is not necessarily at the same level as the rest of the house, but we still have to fit the same number of courses in between point A and point B, because we didn't take out the whole wall. So although this side of the window will not necessarily match that side of the window,
Okay.
it'd be hard for someone who is not familiar with masonry to spot it, probably. But it is different. So what we'll do is we'll take the part of the wall that is good here, and we'll just run level off of that.
Okay.
And then when we get to the top of the window, we'll put in just more or less for aesthetics, what would be known as a control joint.
Huh.
It'll just be a vertical line running the just the area between the two windows. So where the brick doesn't necessarily match up, it'll still be interlocked in the layers behind, and then on the front, so that we don't notice the brick not coming to the same levels, or the same elevations. Then we'll just simply put a vertical joint there to break that up.
That is so cool. All right, and over here, I just want to show the bottom of this window. This window was about 2 inches out of whack, like it kind of sagged on the left side.
Yeah, we think
diagonally.
It was about 3 inches altogether. I think it was like something like 2 3/4 difference from this side of the window to the other side of the window.
Yeah.
And because the window is twisted in there like that, what we're going to do again is we're just going to create a square opening. So what we'll do is we'll cut out, we've already laid this in just for the sake of staying plumb with the point that we need to meet up top. We'll just go ahead and take out whatever we need to here. And on that side, we'll have to cut a small rip to fit in above the new sill. The old stone sill was broken, and all the sills on the house have been painted. So what we're going to do is just form and pour a concrete sill, and just put that in there. And like I said, it'll create a square opening that the carpenter can come along and install a replacement window or rebuild the old window and make it square again as well.
Yeah, I'm amazed because this wall was about 3 inches out, like it had a little pooch right about where you were standing, and you're gonna get it all square again.
It was really strange to look at when we got here. This brick was actually the wall was at about this level. The wall was you can see this line tails with the corners of the house, and this particular part of the wall was setting out about that far, and that line shows you how far out that was. So it was really strange to look at. One thing that kind of amazed us when we got out here was we started looking at this, and we realized that the wall was level and the wall was plumb, and that's kind of my go-to, is to get my level and check things. And this entire wall had actually just sort of settled, other than the bulge that we found at the bottom where the wall was trying to kick out. The entire rest of the wall up to the second story was running plumb, and the brick were still level.
Wow.
And so it was just a huge part of this house that had shifted. As the foundation kind of settled in a couple different spots at the other corner, and then particularly in this spot as well. And we think what really caused that was there were crawl space vents in the side of this house, and with the water that was coming down through the inside of the wall and down into the crawl space and the foundation, that caused a lot of deterioration and damage. And then the water got down below, and while the house sat empty, that vent was open, and so it may have been that we had a really cold winter, and there was water in there, and it froze hard, and it shifted the foundation slightly, about 3 inches, and it caused the bottom of this wall to kick out 3 inches. And of course, the mortar being washed out by the water over the years had caused the brick, especially where they sat wet for so long, had begun to deteriorate. The weight of the wall began to crush those bricks and kick them out. So it's really good that you decided to take care of this now. A few more years like that, and we may have been in a completely different scenario. The entire wall would have eventually, this side of the house would have just fallen down. So I think we've got that straightened out, though. We've got a really solid footer, a good foundation. We've ground and tuck pointed every mortar joint on the house. We've replaced the bricks that were all the way deteriorated, and we've simply had to remove parts of the wall so that we can make everything run together, to tail together and line
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, and if you look up here, you can see that he found our chimney. We knew there had to have been a chimney or two in this house, and here's one just about 4 feet to the left of the two windows on the west side of the house. There's a
That's
cavity.
really interesting. Nowadays we definitely don't build things like that, but assumably there was maybe a potbelly stove or a coal burner. Maybe I'm not exactly sure, but you can see the hole in the wall where the pipe came through, and then the smoke was allowed to. I guess the flue was just built in to the brick, and you can see where they parged that to keep the smoke, I guess, from coming in through, finding its way through the brick. But that's interesting. We definitely don't build them like that anymore.
No. So thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you, Candace.